Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Mr. Kater and everybody else. It's been a while. I've been inconsistent, and I don't apologize for that because you don't deserve my apologies, but you do deserve a great podcast brought to you today by Figaro Applesauce. So Figaro Applesauce has a commitment to quality, and that commitment is so great that they dedicate themselves to testing up to 23%, up to, big asterisk on that on the read, of their apples for parasites before smooshing them up into the delicious paste sweeping through the nursing homes of America. Now, Figaro, if it's good enough for horses to eat, then it's good enough for grandma. Figaro. Thank you, Figaro. As always, the flagship sponsor of the podcast here. Always good to have your support. So get out there, hit up your local grocery store, and Figaro Classic. It's my personal favorite. Then they have many brands to choose from. All right, let's get to it. The Super Bowl. You watched it, maybe. I watched it for sure. 100% I did. And I want to, if you want detailed analysis of what's going on, if you want insight as to who won the game and why, you're in the wrong spot. You're in the wrong spot. Go listen to Bill Barnwell and check out his article. He'll know about that. That'll get you that information. But I'm here to serve as counsel, first and foremost, to those that are getting trampled on by society. And I got three people that I want to come out and defend here. Dun dun. All right, Law and Order. I'm in against Jerry Orbach. Jerry Orbach, he planted that. All right. Benjamin Bratt, dirty cop. And that fucking Sam Waterson. I'm going to roast him. I'm going to tear him apart as defense counsel for Kyle Shanahan. All right, everybody. Jesus Christ, I get it. The guy was an offensive coordinator of the Falcons. They got roasted by the Patriots 3 years ago. He had a part in that. All right. He didn't go out there and make any of those plays. He also was not the head coach of that team. That person's Dan Quinn. And how are the Falcons doing since Kyle Shanahan left? Been stability? Have they been good? Have they overcome their deficiencies and the personnel? Or have they, or do they have Dirk Cutter? Is Dirk Cutter still there? They got Dirk Cutter back. All right. Dirk Cutter came back to their life. They allowed that. And that's where the Falcons have been since Kyle Shanahan left. All right, you got to consider that. All right. Here's the other part of this that is just pissing me off. It's pissing me off. Let's talk about the timeouts before halftime. I, too, with the rest of America, on an initial proposal, thought to myself, we better call a fucking timeout. But then as he's letting the clock down, I'm thinking about what he's thinking. And I see what he's thinking. There's like 1:40 left. If he lets that run down, the Chiefs have 3 timeouts. They're punting the ball. Here's the play that everyone's forgetting. Kansas City's punter, Colquitt, was, oh my God, they were so close to downing that thing at the 1-yard line. And if that thing gets downed inside the 5, now all of a sudden we've got a fucking appreciation for what Kyle Shanahan was doing with the game there. All right, that never happened, though. We're playing the results. The punter kicked it into the end zone. Niners got it back. They've only got 50-some seconds left to try and make something happen. Oh, and then, by the way, George Kittle gets called for bullshit offensive pass interference. And then all of a sudden, Kyle Shanahan doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Okay? He's not out there getting roasted on defense. Maybe Robert Saleh doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Did Kyle Shanahan's offense put up 0 points? So, in the fourth quarter, that's against him. In 2 consecutive Super Bowls, his offenses have put up 0 points in the fourth quarter. That's legitimate. I want to acknowledge that. I don't want to ignore these things. I'm just saying, fucking Jimmy Garoppolo hits another pass or two. We're talking a little bit differently about this game. You know, somebody doesn't get a holding call on that Patriots game. They kick that field goal. Talking a little differently. there's a lot of little things that happen over the course of football games. A lot of cumulative failures by both the winning and the losing team that you never tally up the losses of any of the individuals on the winning team, okay? Mahomes was shit for 3 quarters. Garoppolo hits that pass. Well, hey, now we're talking a lot about how Mahomes was shit for 3 quarters. And how, I had that big 4th quarter, but by then it was just too late, The narrative's always clouded by the result. All right, now I agree with the decision-making of Kyle Shanahan at the end of that first half against the grain. Now, I'm also going to come out and defend Donald Trump here. Not for the... this is only Super Bowl related. All right, I won't speak to his kind of, the old impeachment thing he's got going on. There are other places to get information on that. I've got very little, like most Americans. All right, I'm just going to stick my old head in the sand here. Just wait till November, see what happens. Oh no, I won't be no. I'm about voting, man. Shit, you got to work that day. Why would I take 10 minutes off? I know I can vote in advance, yes, but then that requires I got to fill out some form, right? I don't know why I would do that if, the end result is just my life's better. Oh, okay. Anyhow, enough about being American. Donald Trump, he sent out a tweet about, Kansas City and how they made the whole state of Kansas proud. And then everyone comes back to him, they roast his ass, and they say, hey, Kansas City's in Missouri, which is correct. The football stadium, if you're in the football stadium, you're in the state of Missouri. The city of Kansas City, much like the city of New York, fucking transcends waterways. And now, stick with me on this, it's actually in both fucking states. I used to live in Kansas. I know that. I used to go to Kansas City. There's a Kansas City, Kansas on the fucking map. I've been there. Humans live there. The majority of it and anything worthwhile is on the Missouri side of it. All right? That and all the fucking morons that live in Missouri. If you live in Missouri, you gotta prove something to me before I'm gonna believe you're a competent human being. A lot of fucking morons in Missouri. No doubt about that. So, I'm just saying, 45 on that one. I got you. And perhaps an even more unsympathetic character, OJ. OJ. Now, OJ is a source of conflict between Mrs. Fever and I. Because, all right, I'm going to go out there. I mean, I've seen both the OJ documentaries. I'm about to give you my OJ credentials real quick here. Seen both the OJ documentaries. Check. I'm going to rewatch the Ezra Edelman or whatever that guy's, the actual footage one. Tremendous. That thing's fucking tremendous. If you haven't seen that, Jesus, do it right now. Turn this off. Go spend the next 8 hours watching that and then turn this back on. Oh my God, how was that? It was tremendous, right? You loved it. But anyhow, OJ. Here's the deal. I don't know why. I've seen what I've seen. I gotta kind of think that we may have ended up on a hung jury if I'd have been on the jury. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That jury might have been a hung jury, and there may have been a second OJ trial. Because it might have been tough to convince me that I did not have reasonable doubt. I got reasonable doubt about Stephen Avery. I got reasonable doubt about Brendan Dassey. But I feel pretty solid about this OJ thing. But anyhow, the jurors didn't. He's an innocent man of those charges. And I feel like with what happened with the other stuff was kind of punished for the and nobody else involved in that whole heist thing of the Heisman gear, whatever's going on in that hotel room with the handguns and the robbery and so forth. No one else got that heavy of a sentence. And then, Juice was in there for a while. All right. But now he's out. He's roaming the Twitter waves. So that's brought a discussion between me and Mrs. Fever about, let me ask you something. How mad would you be? And that's always a great Like, you're always, when you're swimming upstream, you start a conversation like that. Eyebrow starts to kind of cock up a little bit, get a sideways look. How mad would you be if I was at a bar and I was a few beers deep, if I saw OJ there and I was like, Juice, what's up? Loved you in the Naked Gun series. Would love a picture. R.I.P. Leslie Nielsen. And appealed to that sensibility of the Juice, separated the man and potentially murderer, likely murderer, from the celebrity personality. And the answer is generally pretty mad. Generally pretty mad. But, not a... I think it's something that could heal. That's something that could mend over time. So OJ's paid his debt to society. Part of it. The part that he didn't kind of go chapter 11 on through some sort of series of tricky accounting, justice accounting. But now that he's free, I don't know. Should he be able to well wish Patrick Mahomes on Twitter? I say yes. Many say no. Almost everyone says no. So a couple more things about the Super Bowl, none to do with gameplay. I hear that the Chiefs won 31-20. Good for Andy Reid. You've probably heard many an Andy Reid fat guy joke. What I want to happen with Andy Reid is I hope Andy Reid just does, 6 months of fucking straight carnivore diet. I saw Joe Rogan on Instagram ripping his shirt off. He's 50 whatever, shredded to the max, and he's talking about doing this carnivore diet, which I assume is you just eat nothing but meat, which is fine. I don't know what that does for you. Curious as to what comes out the other side of it. I hear not much, by the way, less than you would far less than you'd expect. But anyhow, I really do think that Andy needs to get on like that carnivore diet, and he just comes back like fucking shredded on these cheeseburger jokes. He just, all right, Andy. I hear Andy Reid shows up at 3 a.m. to get to work. Andy Reid works from 3 a.m. to 11 at night. And then I don't know what he does in the hours in between, but apparently he sleeps at some point. That's a life, man. That guy's got to love football. And at that point, your wife has to accept that you love football more than you love her. I mean, no doubt. You like football more than you like me. No, I don't. You spend 20 hours a day of football. You spend 3 hours a day passed out beside me. Yeah, but sometimes you bring me lunch. It's hard to convince your wife that you love her more than football. But maybe she's, instead of bringing him, he says he's getting a double cheeseburger. Stack it up, Andy. Right, stack it up. But I feel like the worst thing that could happen right now is just Andy Reid. Something bad happening to Andy Reid. So I hope Andy Reid goes full keto, comes back shredded, and then he and Bill Belichick just spar. Just fucking Belichick, Lamar Jackson, and fucking Andy Reid and Mahomes. And it's the Ravens, the Patriots, and the fucking Chiefs just slugging it out for the next 5 years. That would be awesome. All right. What else do we got? Ate too much food. Check. Did that. Felt really bad that day and today. But here I am. Looking forward to probably eating too much food yet again. There was a lot of sad commercials. An inordinate amount of sad commercials. We had, of course, was that Loretta, whoever that fucking old lady was, who the Google guy had dementia, was losing his mind, and had to tell Google things that Google already knew. You don't need to tell Google anything. They already know. He's like, Loretta loved fucking bacon and cheese. And Google's just like, no, she didn't, bitch. Loretta was a vegan for the last 20 years of her life. Oh, haha, good one, Google. You passed the test. Because let's face it, at the end of it, if that guy lost a tenth of his mind, Google knew more about his wife than he does. All right, what else do we got? This is the last thing here. My wife has a friend that works in local advertising, and like it was interesting to see how the fucking how the ads, like, it's like, all right, if you got a Super Bowl ad that's running, like, that shit's got to run. So I was watching this, and I'm watching this game, and I'm watching the time melt away, and I'm like, dude, this must fucking suck for fucking advertisers. Like, you need a long, nasty game. Like, that's what you need. You need it to be drug out. And San Francisco just fucking milking the clock. People losing money left and right. That's a bummer. It's a bummer. All right, and then here's a big travesty of the entire game. Some cable company, I don't want to besmirch their name, but it rhymes with Comcast. Fucking my cable box. And thank God for the timing on this, because it was gracious. Very gracious. Right after, I think it was right after that pass interference call from Kittle. When it was very clear the Niners were doing nothing at the end of the first half. My cable box fucking, it went on the fritz. And it just rebooted. Went out black. The little box says boot, like a fucking old school calculator. And then it's just spinning around. 8 minutes. It took 8 minutes for it to fucking get back online, get the hamsters on the wheels, and get itself back online. Thank God for two things. Number one, thank God I didn't miss any game action. And then number two, thank God I didn't miss that Super Bowl halftime show. Tremendous. The best since Prince, they say. I'm not a Prince fan, so I say, let's just never ever see the Rolling Stones or Imagine Dragons or fuck, man. We can do better than that, and they proved it this year. So what else do I got here? All right, on the back end of this, I got a little bit of a royal update from Mrs. Fever, where what else do we got here? Sorry you hear that paper going up and down, but I run an old school operation here. Abacus. I don't even own a calculator. I'm taping this on a pinhole computer. It's like a pinhole camera, but I made a computer out of a fucking pinhole and aluminum foil. It's some pretty advanced stuff. All right, last thing to talk about here. I went to lunch today, and I had some time to kill at lunch. And Puppies is fucking all up in my face about all up in my face about trying to get some goddamn video games played. So I go in and I'm like, man, I'm kind of bored of most of this stuff. Call of Duty's fun, but it gets pretty old after, man, once you start catching a whooping, you find yourself over somebody's knee. That's not fun for very long. And sometimes it just comes at you in waves and you can't deal with it. That's a game that you can turn off. You can be like, all right, I am pumped up. I'm going to hang out and play this game for 3 hours. And then after 20 minutes, you are thankful that you didn't break your controller. Because, by the way, when I went to GameStop, that's what I'm about to talk about, fucking controller's $60. Are you kidding me? I was thinking to myself at a certain point, like, what can I do to improve my gameplay here? Not in how do I practice and get better, but the way golfers do it, how do I get some new fucking gear to try and get better? I don't want to put any more extra effort in. I just need some better gear. And that's what's standing between me and shooting 70 every round. And that's kind of the way I think with video games. I think it's probably the way a lot of people think with video games. So, I've thought to myself, maybe I should get a fresh controller. There's nothing overtly terrible about mine, but I'm like, man, if it's got, fresh bounce to it and all that, if it would feel good, and then I look at $60, that's that one I got. Pretty good, man. I like it. I like that's all worn in. It's comfortable in my hand. I'm going to stick with that one because it's not going to cost me an obscene amount of money. Now, I'll get a new one if I need it, right? But it's just me. Mrs. Fever's not exactly tapping me on the shoulder trying to get in on my squad. with puppies to fucking win some battle royales. It's not exactly how things go down. So I'm on my lunch break. I've got a couple extra minutes to kill. I see this GameStop, which is by Chipotle. Obviously, I'm into this Chipotle multiple times a week for lunch. Now, and I stare at this GameStop, so I had an inordinate amount of time for lunch. I'm like, fuck it. It was a nice day, too. God bless you, little groundhog, not seeing your shadow. Spring coming early up here in the Portland area. It was lovely. Now I'm looking around. I'm like, man, it's a nice fucking day. So I'm gonna hang out a little bit. I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna go to GameStop. What's going on at GameStop? Walk in. Look around. Pretty clean GameStop. I've been in some pretty gnarly GameStops. It's the Little Caesars of video game procurement establishments. You can walk every now and then. You walk into a GameStop and then things will be fresh. The carpets won't be moldy. But for the most part, you expect a little bit of gamer stink. And it smells of BO, code red, and failure. That's the general kind of overtone. And probably a little bit of Subway. Because if you got a Subway within fucking 900 meters of your business establishment, guess what the inside smells like? Fucking Subway. Terrible. Terrible. I don't know how they get away with it. How do they get away with it? But anyhow, this one was pretty fresh. And no twinge of Subway even. Minimal to light musk of gamer undertones, but that smelled mostly like a regular retail store. Clean. And overall, it was pleasant until I was approached by the sales lady, sales female. I don't know how you supposed to say that in 2020. I don't really care. This chick comes up to me. And I don't know what she said. She said something smart ass. Oh, that's what it was. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in here? Not that, but, basically that. He's not that kind of overt. And I say, I'm just kind of checking out, used PS4 games. Because, if I'm going to buy a game, I'll just download the goddamn thing off the internet. There's no reason to do anything other than that. I'm going to sit in my house. That disc doesn't do anything for me. I don't know what's on those discs, but it's nothing. All you do if you buy the game is then you have to fucking put the disc in. You're going backwards when you've got these goddamn discs in your life at this point. You're going backwards. Now, I say, hey, so I'm looking for a used PS4 game. I'm trying to get, Madden 14 for $3 or whatever's going on. But then I get there, I say, hey, I want some used PS4 games. And she says, oh, that's going to be tough. I was like, what is that? She's like, because you're looking at the new PS4 section. I was like, okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of heading that way. Yeah, I'm just going to head that way. And then to her credit, she's like, I'm sorry if I was being like, I was subdued in my response. All right, I was like, yeah, I got you. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, you're the first person I've seen today here. Okay. It was like fucking 1:00 in the afternoon on what was it? What's today? Monday? 1:00 on a Monday? It's the first customer. Pretty gnarly. If you're running a fucking retail store and your monthly rent is what? Probably that area, that size of thing. I don't know, $8,000 to $12,000. Well, we gotta get some fucking, we gotta get some copies of Black Ops moved out of here. I get that. I get the game dropped 15 months ago, but I need you to push this shit so that we can pay the rent. It's only $22. And tell them if they sign up for the little rewards thing, it's only $16. It pays for itself. Then the rewards thing, it pays for itself. There's no reason for them not to, okay? Get the fuck out there and start slinging Black Ops 4. All right? Okay? Get the fuck out there. Now, I go in. At that point, I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'm not, I just want to be left alone. I don't say this, but in my mind, I just want to be left alone to casually, like, probably not buy one of these games and then leave. So I start looking through it, and I look through these games in two ways. The only person I play video games with basically is puppies. I don't have a lot of time, so his schedule lines up with mine. I don't have a lot of friends. His so it all lines up. It's all well and good. So I'm thinking about, well, what would be fun to play with him? The weird part about that is he likes a ton of stupid games. Tons of stupid games. You got to look out for that. I've bought a couple really shitty games on his advice, and it's not worked out well. So I basically just stick to the Call of Duty and then whatever I think would be pretty good. But now I'm looking around. I'm like, and then also, like, what would be fun to play by myself if I had an hour or two and I just wanted to let my mind go away and do something mindless. Well, basically sports games, shooters, and anything under like $10 at this point. Because why the fuck else would I, pay money for a disc and when I could just download it off the internet? So I just want something mega cheap where I'm thinking that I stole it. And then I just start thinking to myself, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What are you doing? I'm just standing there. I get a copy of, Madden 19 in my hand. And I'm saying to myself, what are you going to do, man? You going to start a franchise? You going to win 3 Super Bowls in a row? Is that how you're going to fill the void of emptiness and failure in your life? Oh, jeez. I can't start a Madden franchise. I can't do that. Not at this age. Not in this condition. Not in this mental state. You dive into terrible mental health starting a Madden franchise at the age of 37. I get it. If you've been playing Madden for 20 years hardcore and that's just kind of what you do, it's your thing, fine, go for it. It's kind of like, hey, what's that? You like you're just really into snorting coke? Okay, cool, but you're 50 and you've been doing it for 30 years and somehow like you still have a septum? All right, fucking whatever, dude. Whatever. But you find yourself 50 chopping up lines in a fucking bathroom at a bar for the first time? Dude, look up from the lines and into the mirror because that person has some problems. They've got some issues and they don't need that cocaine. All right? They don't need that sweet, sweet cocaine. You don't want no part of this. You don't want no part of this, Dewey. You don't want no part of it. And that's kind of, I played Madden before, but fucking whatever. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, do you really going to start a Madden franchise? That's what you're going to do. All this great television, all this great artwork that people are slaving away for. I got so much goddamn stuff on my Netflix queue that it is just overwhelming. There is never a time when I don't have something to watch. It's crazy. It's obscene. I can't take it. And it gives me anxiety that I'm never going to get through this shit. But that's what getting old is about, I suppose. Because once you're old and your body's crippled and you just can't move, I'll be able to get in those 14-hour days of just doing fuck all and banging through Witcher Season 1. All right, I'll be able to do that, which I actually already did. Super sick. Witcher Season 1, super sick. But anyhow, I'm hanging out. I'm having that moment. And then behind me, that same girl who was just kind of, being relatively inappropriate, not that I give a fuck, is having a very inappropriate conversation about other workers and shifts and about the general, ingoings and outgoings of people in the store. And obviously, if you've seen the news, GameStop about to go the way of Blockbuster. Oh, wow, you can't fucking really get at me and charge me way too much for some bullshit that is really just a burden in my life? Okay. Well, I guess your business is probably going to suffer, right? That's just kind of how the world works. And she's in there and she's talking about how she was there this day And fucking no one was there. On this day, there was these few people. She's counting heads, man. She was taking head counts of these days. Oh, yeah, I think I saw 12 people on that day. There was a 16. Jeez, that's just people that she's seen. Not even sales that have gotten made. So I'm sitting there and I'm feeling like I just showed up at a funeral that I didn't know I was attending. Very strange. Very strange dynamic in the store. And I'm the only person in there. And then finally my angel comes to a rescue. Some very greasy Guilfoyle looking guy. If you've seen Silicon Valley, which I haven't seen all of yet. I'm behind on that. Great TV show. Fucking amazing TV show. I can't wait to finish that. If I ever get the time. Just an example of all the stuff I should be doing with my life. I'm not talking about building wells for people that need water in Africa. I'm not talking about enriching the world, but my own existence is more enriched by, watching the Silicon Valley finale than it would be by claiming my fourth straight, and I guarantee at least a four-peat Super Bowl. And as I start stacking Lombardis up, coming after you, Belichick. All right, I'm coming after you, New England coach. Isn't he his New England coach? Because he'll never fucking give his likeness. He'll never sell it. I love that. It's classic Bill Belichick. Alrighty, well, that's going to be it. Stay tuned. Coming up right now, me and Mrs. Fever, we're going to talk British Royal goings on and what's going on with this Harry and what's the other one? Meghan. What's going on with Harry and Meghan? Was that it?
No.
Oh, it would have been cooler if it was.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yeah, because it's coconut water.
Damn.
The lime on the coconut, you're drinking both of. Since I know I'm not as bad as you tell me I am, because I hear it with my own ears through the headphone. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, people.
Sing in your high falsetto.
What's
Say
that?
it again.
No, wait. What's
Sing
what's
the
the song?
Sing
What
the
is it?
Lizzo song.
I do my hair talk, check my nails. Baby, how you doing? Feeling good as hell. That sounds good. It's right on key. That's right on key.
Oh my god.
It's right on key. That's not as bad as you say it is. You pick on me. You pick on me, woman. I'm about to give you some loose talk. Give you some loose talk here. Amy Schumer. I know we're not supposed to pick on people, but not looking good right there.
She's not supposed to be. She's like taking care of her child.
What is she doing?
I don't know.
Oh.
All those pictures where she posts like that,
Oh.
she's usually like showing what motherhood really looks like.
Gotcha. You're getting it unfiltered from Amy Schumer.
Yep.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Should we do this, or do you want to talk about Michael Jackson first?
Why are we talking about Michael Jackson?
Well, there's some, so we're in the middle. We're taping this. Got Mrs. Fever here.
Woo!
Coming back at you. There's breaking news that Kobe Bryant may have passed away. We're not gonna,
sad.
Yeah, not going to address that. But it reminded me of like celebrities passing, and two stand out. One of them hurt me. Well, my good friend Hitch passed away from his honestly, well-deserved throat cancer from his years of smoking and drinking and his age demographic. That was just going to happen.
I was like, whose dogs are those?
Yeah, those are ours. Not well-deserved in that he was a bad man, but predictable in that sense. But that one stung. And then when I was in Iraq, that's when Michael Jackson died. So, and that was when we all knew that maybe Michael Jackson's not that I hadn't seen the documentary yet. Okay, if you've seen the HBO documentary, it's pretty damning as far as whether or not he was a diddler. But I do remember that there's this guy, Sergeant Henry, who when Michael Jackson died, he built him an altar.
Fuck off.
Yeah, there were people at it. These are just random ass white dudes from like Texas or Kentucky.
There are bigger things, gentlemen.
Yeah, no,
in the immediate vicinity,
and they're running combat missions.
Oh my god!
But in between, it's like, and you couldn't talk shit. And there were a couple people that were to kind of like. For the most part, you could kind of joke around, but like Sergeant Henry wasn't fucking having it. Like you weren't gonna talk shit about Michael Jackson being dead around that dude. And just for the record, he was a white dude from Texas, so it's like I don't know what he had about MJ that was special to him, but he he loved the man.
Wonder if he has seen the HBO special.
Yeah. Afterward, he's writing letters to those guys telling them to quit fucking lying, because he's that sort of guy. I mean, he doesn't subscribe to the scientific method in life. It's just, it's not, I'm going to be open-minded about this. I'm going to collect the evidence. He would do very well on the Stephen Avery jury.
Oh God,
he would. For the record,
I have a complaint.
Okay.
With
the manager.
Miss Fever, Bobby's sister, who lied to me and told me Stephen Avery will be just fine. Don't you worry. And this whole time, all this shit is going down, and I'm like, this looks really bad for him. But she says he's gonna be okay. Like something's gonna happen. Like there's gonna be a miracle, like Christmas miracle. No.
There
was nothing for this man, and I'm like so upset.
So upset. Had to stop short of what presumably will be the conviction of a young Brendan Dassey.
The sister fever? Yeah. I have a bone to pick with you.
So anyhow, let's talk about bones to pick. Let's talk why you're here. This is why you're here.
Yes. You're a royal correspondent.
So you monitor the Skippy's boards.
I monitor several things.
The comings and goings of the royal family. And my audience is mildly curious and horribly ill-informed as to what's going on. So whether or not being more informed drives their curiosity, satiates it, or disgusts them, well, we're about to find out. Now, a couple questions. First question for you.
Yes.
Confusing terminology for me and some of my listeners. How does abdication... So, how does that in any way, does it, and if so, relate to masturbation? Please explain.
Potentially.
Potentially. I'm intrigued. So, what does abdication mean?
Okay, so what they did isn't technically abdicating. It's very tricky.
Okay.
Because
it's a nuanced scenario.
Yes.
So give me the broad strokes. What has happened here?
So what has happened is Prince Harry has succumbed to the evil Meghan Markle, and she has put him under her little evil spell. And she has convinced him that the only way he'll be happy is leaving his family, the only life he's ever known since he was a child, all the good work that he has done and has the potential to do, to walk away for the commercial opportunities that go along with her little Sussex Royal brand that she's created.
Okay. Now, I feel like we were left hanging on a few things here. As far as...
she was never pregnant.
Okay, So there's a baby now.
There's a baby.
There's a baby.
There are many.
What are
theories.
Skippy? Give me. Okay, so there's one theory. I'm gonna put it out there. We'll just put it out there in the competing theories category. Mm-hmm. That Meghan Markle got pregnant and had a baby. That's a theory.
It is a theory.
A theory. Give me some of the other, perhaps less likely and less accepted theories. Give me some of those.
Okay.
Break them down.
What most likely happened?
Okay. Let's.
Okay, sorry. I have to stop playing.
Let's not talk likelihood here.
Yeah.
We need.
So the most popular theory.
The most popular alternative theory.
To
a conventional theory of a woman giving birth.
Right.
Which it happens a couple times. The most conventional alternative theory is what?
Is that there was some sort of surrogate.
Okay.
Reasonable.
What I got an Us Weekly here. What is this? Who's this person? Cameron Diaz did that.
Cameron Diaz.
She just did a secret surrogate.
Yes.
Basically. At 47, dream comes true at 47 after private struggle. Horrifying.
Man,
right?
Those eggs have got to be dicey.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus. God, that kid, don't give it any vaccines.
I guess she's a Charlie's Angel at all, but
don't take any chances with that thing. Like, don't.
That's really rolling the dice. Like, whether they've been on ice for a long time or, like, whether they're straight from her, like, that's fucking dicey.
She should have just pulled that Ben Stiller shit right out of her hair and just sent it up in there. Then she wouldn't have this problem. But anyhow, okay, so surrogate is an alternative theory. Which, I mean, is a reasonable alternative theory, right? You can pay some young lady a tremendous sum of money to carry a child. I mean, how many people need to be involved in that? Very few. In the, that's like a 10-person scam, right? Mm-hmm. That's reasonable.
Yes, it's reasonable. And
but there's also pillow. That's why there's that's consistent with all the pillow photos that we encountered before, correct?
They say it was such a big deal for her to fake the pregnancy is because there are such stringent rules about the royal line of succession and how it has to be a birth of the body, which does not include surrogacy.
Just a little closer. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it had to be, faked so that if this child were, like, if that were ever an issue, it could be claimed that this child was in the line of succession.
Okay. Which there's really no need for that because you've got Charles turned into a skeleton waiting for his fucking mom to Terminator of a mom to die.
Yeah.
So that he can at least taste the throne before he fucking kicks the bucket. And then you've got the just rapidly balding William ready to get after it with his dear wife Kate. Oh, don't we love her?
Kate the Great.
And now we've got these clowns.
Yeah.
Now, she's an American or a Canadian or half Canadian, half... She's an American?
She worked in Canada.
She worked in Canada on Suits, correct?
Correct.
So she's got those zids coming in from Suits. She's got like 6 seasons of a TBS series. So those checks are hitting the bank, every quarter. Like, that's probably coming in. That's probably at least $8,000 to $10,000 every quarter, okay?
Yeah.
So she's doing her part.
Yeah.
All right? On that end. And he's walking away from, well, what Time says an $88 billion fortune, but that's his cut of it. Now, when are they leaving? Have they left?
They have left.
They've left.
And the Queen gave a very lovely announcement saying, a very personal announcement saying they will always be my grandchildren. They will always be my family, blah, 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 blah. Very but, this is what they've chosen to do. And very clearly stated they were not going to be using their what's called the HRH styling, which is His or Her Royal Highness.
Okay.
It's a very big deal. Like, if you get the HRH, my God, people have to curtsy to you. It's a whole big shebang. You get... It's like a whole other level of aristocracy.
Okay.
So, Forrest.
Yeah. It's gonna be.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened to him.
Yeah. Tough life. It's gonna. All right.
So it's, she said that they were going to choose not to use it. It was not being taken away. Now that's the crucial piece. So Harry is staying in the line of succession, technically.
So bomb goes off. Do you think this is part of a plot? I mean, what happens, bomb goes off in England. I'm just saying.
Who knows?
You get Charles and you get, and
they're safe in Canada.
And they're just hanging out in Newfoundland.
I mean, whether or not, like,
Meghan
Markle is that evil, that's,
that's not for you to say.
Not for me to say.
That's all speculation.
Yeah.
It's all speculation. But I mean, if it were a movie plot, I mean, that would be part of it, right?
For sure.
You gotta move yourself suspiciously away from the area.
Exactly. And it's under the guise of, like, we want to be normal people, blah, blah, blah. Like, Harry never got over the death of his mother and hates the paparazzi and can't live a life where they're allowed to be there all the time. That was another one of their conditions, is that they're only going to invite in certain members of the press. They're going to ignore everybody else. They aren't allowed to just cover their events.
So, Us Weekly here says there's a ripple effect going on. The Queen, not a fan.
Of
this decision.
Of course not. He's shirking his duty. Queen's worst nightmare, says an insider. Worst nightmare. I gotta think that, me personally, my worst nightmare would be if my son were a pedophile. But like allegedly. I
don't know what all those photos are of him with that Epstein fellow. But anyhow, this isn't about that. This is about this American woman. Now, how has this affected her relationship or his relationship with his brother?
Okay, well, apparently things were like horrible. But during this, what was called the Sandringham Summit, they apparently became, like, had a moment and, a brother to brother, blah, blah, like, realized he's moving to a whole other country and, like, didn't want to leave on bad terms sort of situation. However, the Sussex Royal account, Instagram, website, blah, all that bullshit, continues to stomp on all the royal family's announcements. Prince Charles just had, like, some event the other day that was like launching some sort of, like, green event, and the same time that he posted it or announced it, they, like, followed up with something from their account, and it was just like, totally blew his out of the water.
So here's where here's where I'm looking at. It says, as for Harry's dad, Prince Charles, the insider, whoever this insider may be, says he's livid and blames Meghan for his son's decision to flee the palace. Reasonable. Their relationship stands to be even more complicated over money. The royal families are reportedly worth $88 billion, per Us Weekly. Meghan and Harry currently get 95% of their income from Charles, a reported royal stipend of $6.5 million. So now it's a question of whether Charles will decide to keep paying them or not, says another source. Here's where I'm going to stand up for
You're
Prince
Republican.
William.
Oh,
I'm not a Republican. But
what an English Republican is?
I don't fucking know. I'm American, okay? I didn't know you're talking about an English Republican. All right, I'm American. I didn't even know Republicans exist outside of America, because that's how ignorant I am about the international political system, okay? So don't confuse and obfuscate me with terms of other people's parliamentary systems, all right? Whigs and such and Tories and Labour Party, I don't fucking understand, okay? You're confusing me. And you talk about basic things, like allowances. That, to me, you know what that sounds like? Sounds like a fucking allowance.
It is.
So, he's a grown-ass man that has been to fake war, that has definitely played war, as much as the royal people will let him. Go on patrol. There's 9 different personal protectors for you. You're basically like the president walking down Main Street, but you're in Afghanistan, is what I understand of his experience. But hey, way to go. You definitely got some sick photos doing that. But anyhow.
But he has done a lot for veterans.
Absolutely.
A lot.
So but to me, what it sounds like he's a man, right? Would you describe Harry generally as a man? Maybe not a man's
not
man,
at this point.
But previous to this.
Previous to this, yes.
Okay. Well, you may describe it as the manipulations of a woman. I don't know what. It was that Jack Ryan thing that we were watching, right? You know how. It's so generic. You've forgotten most of it. I guarantee. But anyhow, you know how
there weren't many women in it, so I'm trying to remember which one you're talking about.
Underrepresented. That was so patriarchal. Oh my god. But anyhow,
sorry, Jim from The Office.
Like the most. If I am the fucking, if I'm the leader of a criminal organization. The most dangerous fucking person in my organization is the woman of my number 2. Because in that movie or that TV show, she's like,
you're talking about the Columbia or whatever they were.
She's like, you can do it better than him.
Totally.
Why are you being in his shadow? Right? Dangerous fucking woman. Dangerous woman. Right? And that's like, those are the people you got to be worried about, right? And that's who she is.
Yes.
Right? That's who she is. But part of what she's doing is she's letting him be like, dude, you kind of like, you are kind of being a bitch here, right? Like, don't just fucking don't take your daddy's fucking allowance.
Okay, first of all.
Don't take your daddy's allowance. Oh, we get 95% of our money. Everything but our suits, my suits zids, and my makeup fucking money we get from your daddy. We live in your daddy's house. We got to parade around on their schedule. You really want to do this your whole life, or are you a fucking man? Are you just going to do whatever they tell you to, like a little boy? Are you going to be a little boy? Your dad's a fucking 70-year-old little boy just waiting for mommy to die. He's a 70-year-old little mommy's boy. You're just going to fucking sit around and be that? Is that who you want to be in 40 years? You're going to be even worse than that because you don't even have a chance at the throne. You're going to be this fucking skeletonized loser over here. No. Guess what? We got all this. We can go make $50 million a year. Fuck them. Let's go.
Okay.
If I'm him, I'm like, let's go.
Okay. That's what she's done to him. And she's brainwashed him. Because...
This is a good argument.
No,
it's a good argument. It's a good idea.
No, listen. They provide a serious service to their country. The parading around and everything like that brings to light a lot of causes that would normally go ignored. A lot of projects that would normally go unfunded.
Well, I get it, but Kate and William can handle that because they're the fucking king and queen.
They're so okay. The Princess Royal, Anne, she is the daughter of Queen Elizabeth. She is a fucking workhorse. I shit you not. She does more than most of them combined. And maybe they don't want to be the grunts, doing all the work. Well, they get some serious perks.
I'd be on a similar plan.
They get some perks, and she wants it both ways. She wants the perks, but she doesn't want to do the work. She has no sense of duty to that country.
I know, and that's why they're skedaddling.
Yeah, and I'm saying that's sad for her to take a prince of that country who does have that sense of duty and just take it away from him.
Isn't that how it used to always work, though? They used to fucking be how it always worked. I look at all these old-ass movies, it's like, who's that bride? It's like, oh, that's the Prince of Spain. Or it's a Princess of Spain. Fucking drag her ass over here. She's going to marry this guy.
Yeah,
you drag him here and you drag him there.
But the result of that was, she would normally gain protection from the more powerful spouse's country. She was doing a duty to her country. That's why they, entered into these crazy-ass marriages. She's just out for the money. That's all she cares about. She doesn't care about anything but that.
What's all these people though?
No, I
all
don't
these
think so.
people.
I think that he really did have a sense of duty to his country.
Take the queen and take all her shit away and put her in a fucking cardboard box and see if she's out there trying to help people out that day. Probably not. She's just trying to get hers.
Really, you think a woman who is what? She's 95 almost, is just out for herself?
Yeah.
She's fucking out there every day working.
Like
At
that guy.
95. At 95. She has committed her entire life, like almost like 70 years, to doing this. Like, that is enormous dedication.
Hey, that, it's easy to be dedicated when you're being dedicated from a fucking gigantic palace. And then you can be dedicated on whatever schedule you dictate. That's it.
Well, it's
Makes
not
the
easy enough
dedication a
for
lot
Meghan
easier.
Markle.
No, it's not. It's a lot easier to just go fucking make some makeup money, do some shit, live in a high rise in Toronto. Because that's where you want to be, right?
She's a
High rise in
scumbag.
Canada. That's where we're all going to be. She's just getting dibs on fucking real estate. Fucking ocean. You know what's happening. Anything else? Anything else to share?
Kate the Great is wonderful. What else?
I think that's it. We better get going.
Woo!
We got stuff to do. All right, everybody. We'll catch you later. I'll be back by myself, all alone, as usual, next weekend. All right, have a good one.